Hello all, welcome to Success Channel. Today we are going to discuss about the important points which should be considered while drafting plaints to be filed in a civil suit. So we have esteemed guest Mr. Sachin Daga. He is founder and managing partner Daga Legal LLP. His firm has more than 66 years of consolidated experience in real estate, Companies Act, Banking Act, insolvency, etc. So I request Mr. Sachin to guide us.
Thanks, Abhijit, for the lovely introduction. It's a very interesting topic that what are essentials in civil suit drafting. And I have seen a lot of lawyers struggling while they are doing the drafting, and then they look for senior advocates who can help them with the formats. So, therefore, as I always mention when I am dealing with this topic, it is like the producer or a director of a movie wherein there is a story and the actor is taking that story in front of the audience. Similarly, any lawyer who is drafting is just like a director of a movie. How he drafts it, how he crafts it, and therefore the drafting of plaint is very very important. So I will divide my conversation in two parts. One is the theoretical aspects, which is governed by CPC, and another would be the practical aspect while a person is going and filing the claim. We know that the drafting is governed by Civil Procedure Code 1908 and Order 7, Rule 1 to 8 specifically specifically talks about the ingredients of the plaints. Now, the first and foremost part of drafting a plaint is the court where we have to refer our suit is like before the Honorable ABCD court and the place. This particular court should have the jurisdiction to entertain the plaint which has been drafted, followed by the full name, address, occupation of the plaintiff, and then similarly the name, address, occupation of the defendant. Then according to the suit, the type of suit, whether it's a money suit or it's a suit for immovable property, the sections are to be written while we are drafting as a first part of the drafting. Then later on, the facts of the cases are to be drafted, and one has to remember that if one doesn't plead in their drafting the facts, the full facts, the court will not be able to provide the relief which is not being pleaded in the plaint. So therefore, all the pleadings, all the facts are very, very important. And then once all the pleadings are taken care of, then there are some judicial requirements which are required to be fulfilled, which are as follows. Number one, there has to be a proper cause of action because all the suits are governed by the laws of limitation. So therefore, cause of action becomes very, very important. One has to clearly specify the cause of action arose, and then the court can calculate the limitation. Otherwise, the suit will be barred by time. Then after that, the court fees valuation is very, very important. So whatever the subject matter suit is valued at, it has to be written accordingly. The court fees is charged, and then the suit will be admissible in the court of law. Apart from that, towards the end, one will have to give the verification on the oath. So therefore, the plaintiff, who on behalf of whom the suit is being drafted, he has to verify the plaint on the oath, and then followed by the administrative documents which are required is to be filed. So these are the ingredients basis the CPC 1908, which is an essential part of the plaint. And then after that, Wakalatnama, memorandum of address, registered memorandum of address, or the registered address if there is a suit on behalf of the company, is to be filed and submitted, along with the annexures containing the list of documents which will be relied upon in the suit. And the last one is the document. That is how the drafting of whole suit is completed. Now, this is the theoretical part which I have talked about. Now, I will come on to the practical part. When a lawyer is going to go and file the suit, he has to take cognizance of the suit of the court where he is filing a suit. So, suppose if the civil suit which is to be filed in a civil court or the sessions court in Mumbai or in any other metropolitan town, the suits are governed by the rules of the court. So, for example, if a suit is to be filed, first there has to be a synopsis in the index along with pro forma, then the main suit where the facts have been pleaded, followed by the annexures or the exhibits, the list of documents, then the registered address, wakalatnama, affidavit, and then in the end there has to be a docket, which is the like end leg of the play. Then only your draft is completed and it is good to go for the filing. After the filing is done, then the suit will come for the admission. So most importantly, as I said in the beginning, that the drafting is like the director of a film, and therefore it has to be directed properly. Otherwise, it will be very, very difficult for an arguing counsel or an arguing lawyer to put up across his point or to defend his side of the story. Hence, once we are pleading, we should be very clear that what all facts are pleaded and what are legal pleadings which we have taken. I will tell you one instance. Um, there was a very senior lawyer who was arguing in the Supreme Court, and he has done his all preparations regarding the facts of the case, and he was very confident that when he is going to argue the matter, um, he is going to succeed. But what happened? While he started arguing, he never realized that there was a technical fault um, in the SLP, and therefore the suit, the SLP got dismissed on the technical front. So I always give this example. Even when we are in the lower courts and we are filing the suit, we have to ensure that all the technicalities are taken care of. Otherwise, the suit can be rejected only on the technical grounds, even before coming to the facts. So, therefore, the drafting of plaint is very, very important in any matter while we are filing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sachin, for joining Success Channel and sharing your knowledge with all. Thank you very much.